The eternal connection, how love don't live on. I watched a short video on social media the other day where a little girl had asked a question of the late Buddhist teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. Her dog had just died. I had her doggy and my doggy died, and I was so sad, she said. I don't know how to be not so sad. Thich Nhat Hanh looked at her with great compassion, and he said, suppose you look up into the sky, and you see a beautiful cloud, and you like the cloud so much, and suddenly the cloud is no longer there. He added, and you think that the cloud has passed away. Where is my beloved cloud now? But he then offered, if you have time to reflect, you'll see that the cloud has not died, has not passed away. The cloud has become the rain. And when you look at the rain you see the cloud. And he continued, and when you drink your tea mindfully, you can see the rain in your tea, and your cloud in your tea, and you can say hello, my cloud. I know you have not died. You are still alive in a new form. So doggy is the same, he said, as he looked at her. And if you look really deeply, you can see doggy in its new form. His words were met with an understanding smile from the girl. You could tell she really got what he had said. When our loved ones pass on. His words really spoke to me too. I lost my dad about 1.5 years ago. The physical reality of loss hurts, but as Thich Nhat Hanh says, I think that in time, if we were able to think about things more deeply, we can imagine that our loved ones who have passed on are still with us in some way, only in a different form. Because what defines a person? Is it the shape of their body, or their image, and the clothes they wear? Perhaps some of it is, because we remember what they look like. But is it not more about who they are? The person. It's their nature, their personality, the essence of them, that makes them who they are. If you think deeply about it. For me, this defines a person more than their physical appearance. Because appearance changes in time. I see my dad in my mind's eye more as the way he looked in the last few years of his life, because that's more current for me, rather than what he looked like when I was a child. But the person is still the person. Grown up a bit, of course. But the same person. My dad. This essence of who they are is not a physical thing. And since it's not physical, it can never be lost. It's indestructible. It can only change form. A person who has died is in everything that you do now. Our loved ones become the wind in our sails. We see meaning in things that happen in our lives, and we feel it has a connection with them. Because it does. I started work on a new book about 4 or 5 months after my dad passed away. I didn't feel like doing anything prior to that. I had lost a bit of my mojo, I suppose. But my dad is in the book. His spirit. My memory of what he was to me, I prayed to him for guidance. I felt moved to change the title of the book shortly afterwards. I spoke of him in the book too, in a couple of personal stories and experiences. When we lose a loved one, just like the cloud that Thich Nhat Hanh spoke of, they change form. The physical form ceases to be, but all that they were to us remains. And it infuses so much more in our lives. I think this can be a comforting way to think of things. It doesn't necessarily take away the pain of not being able to physically be with a person anymore. I regret not being able to go for a walk with my dad now. But thinking like this can help. To know that the non-physical part of them that made them who they were is still here. It's inside you, and your memories, and your awareness of them, and so it is in every cell of your body. And it infuses into everything that you do. Like the cloud becomes the rain, which makes its way into the reservoirs, and then you drink it in your tea. Stardust. And this is also true on a physical level. We are all made of stardust, see my previous blog on this. Every atom that exists on planet Earth was forged through nuclear fusion on a star, which exploded billions of years ago when its fuel was spent. The Earth and all of its inhabitants, you, me, your deceased loved ones, the animals, plants, clouds, air molecules are stardust. Every atom is recycled by the Earth and rejoins the rest of the stardust again, taking up a different form each time to become part of the trees, the clouds, the rain, and the bodies of other people, including you and me. Everything is deeply connected. This is true spiritually, and it is also true physically. I think it's a comforting way to think about things. It's how I think about things. Things, clouds, and people are never really gone. They just change form. Master Confucius, The Art of Life. Master Confucius, the observer nourishes the flow of life, the silent observer nourishes the spirit of man, the unmoved mover animates all things. So it has been, so it is today, so it will remain from now on, for the living remains alive of itself. Too many activities spoil the being and make the path more difficult. Too few activities mean that you experience neither success nor failure, and growth is impossible. The inner balance between unmoving action, being present without being noticed, and seeing without being seen describes the art of living. JJK, this reveals an incredible way of life to us, but how can it be implemented? Observation is the key. Master Confucius, observation is the key. Pure observation of things and events of the day, not standing in the way of things, allowing people to move to the right place of their own accord and things to find their own flow in life. Anyone who intervenes in the middle of the movement changes the outcome and influences the result in his own selfish way. JJK, but we are always called upon to intervene and resist satanic activities on earth. Master Confucius, how do you resist? Are you solid like a rock inside, or do you need externals to gain strength? Can you perceive your role in the game as a neutral observer without getting caught up? Are you busy doing things to drown out the call of your soul, to receive external approval, or to fulfill your soul plan? What is it that you are, and how still can you be in the silence, or surrounded by chaos? Whoever has tasks in the world should perceive them, and perceive them in such a way that the results are visible, but the mover remains invisible to himself. Anyone who visibly fights for freedom, and is given these tasks, would do well to have their ego subdued and tamed. Because to receive power, or to acquire power, means to deal with it wisely, and without attachments. The greatest upheavals and profound changes take place within you first. Inside a person is the place from which you draw strength, motivation, inspiration, and will. If you have recognized this place, then you have recognized yourself. This is the first, the most important, and the decisive step, before a person can be human, and can truly live out his missions. Because even though it seems as if it is almost too late for humanity to change its ways, many people go out into the world far too early. Without having done their homework, having clarified their inner self, and having tidied themselves up, they make themselves the standard bearers of the new age too early for them, and the effect remains incomplete. Time can wait, but people do not expect anything. JJK, so do nothing. Birth of the Masters. Master Confucius, to do the right thing at the right moment. More calm, more inner peace, more overview, more support, more observation, to act from the middle, and to center yourself in the middle. Many people lose their inner balance. While they fight for freedom and peace, the freedom to observe an event is lost, and inner peace is lost. To influence events positively means to remain uninvolved. To stop getting involved in the game means to control it. To keep yourself away means to exert influence. The art of life is to master your ego motives, and not to be manipulated into a scene by anything or anyone. The river flows, don't stand in its way, everything will find its place. Let things move on their own. With these words I give you my blessing. The hour of birth of the Masters has arrived. Master Confucius. In space, no one can see the stars. In the daytime, you can't see the sun in the sky, and at night, you can't see the stars. But if you go far up into outer space, you will not see the sun, and you will not see the stars. Neil Armstrong, the first person to walk on the moon, reported that he could not see the stars while on his way to the moon. Worse yet, he found himself flying blind because his navigation device needed to take sight readings of the stars to maintain Apollo 11's correct trajectory. Why do the stars turn invisible once you're out in space? That was my exact question when an ascended master introduced me to a dead scientist. One of the great things about knowing ascended masters is that, once in a while, they introduce you to someone who can help you understand something new. One day in February 2013, the spirit form of quantum physics pioneer Wolfgang Pauli, 1900 to 1958, showed up in my study. He's quite the character and I immediately took a liking to him. He wanted me to know that, in the afterlife, science is not so mystified about quantum physics. In fact, what people call quantum weirdness is not, in fact, weird at all. However, it does take an expanded mindset to be able to grasp the spiritual underpinnings of physical reality. He says that physicists who insist that there is nothing beyond physical matter will never understand these things until they expand their worldview, to, at least, include the metaphysical nature of light. Etheric energy is the key to understanding the nature of light. Also called vital life energy, prana, chi, or, more recently, plasma. Etheric energy is a subtle, pre-physical energy which is not visible to physical human eyes. For example, our eyes don't see spirit people because physical eyes don't see their etheric bodies. Cosmologists have detected the presence of huge amounts of etheric energy and matter in space, but, because their eyes don't see these things, they call them dark energy and dark matter. That's rather ironic. Wolfgang assures me that, with spirit vision, etheric energy is not dark at all. Quite the opposite. To him, the air is filled with what looks like a sunlit mist, because he sees that energy in the air. The answer to my question, he continued, is that there is an etheric energy component to light. In its free-to-travel form, light is charged with etheric energy in addition to its well-known electric and magnetic energies. In fact, the non-physical etheric energy encases and shrouds the physical electromagnetic energy from view. When a particle of light hits a barrier, or is deflected by an obstruction, it loses its etheric charge and becomes visible to physical human eyes. This happens because, when light hits a barrier and is forced to change course, its non-physical etheric energy component carries on, as if no barrier had been encountered, much like a ghost passing through a physical wall. The physical, electromagnetic component of the light, now diverted onto a different path, and free of its non-physical shroud, becomes visible to physical human eyes. The Hubble telescope. In its travels from the Sun to the Earth, light is encased in etheric energy, shrouding its physical electromagnetic energy from view. The Earth's atmosphere diverts incoming light particles, breaking them up to make the Sun visible, and the sky blue. The mirrors in a space telescope such as the Hubble interfere with light, stripping away the etheric component, and making it visible. In a deep spacecraft, you could see the stars through a window provided the window includes a diffraction grating to interfere with the light. The solar wind carries the magnetospheric wind away from Earth. The Earth's magnetosphere also interferes with light, making it visible. At the time of a full moon, the magnetosphere stretches out from Earth to the moon. So, had Neil Armstrong flown at the time of a full moon, he would have seen the stars just fine. As it happened, he flew at a new moon, and lost sight of the stars until he came close to the moon, which has its own local magnetosphere. So, you can see light after it has reflected off an object, and you can see also light after it collides with molecules of air in our atmosphere. But, if you travel up above the atmosphere, and into outer space, all the light from the Sun and the stars is traveling in an etherically charged, high-energy state. That's why you won't see the stars. Their light is traveling in its visually shrouded state. The good news is that, when you turn around, you'll still see the Earth shining brightly, beckoning you home. Why? Because the sunlight that hits the Earth's atmosphere loses its metaphysical, etheric energy charge, dropping down to a physical energy level so that you can't see its effects on the clouds and the ground. Etheric energy is the missing energy in today's science. Until it is recognized and fully understood, it won't establish its destined role in our growing understanding of the universe. As a primary energy, the science and applications of etheric energy will be magnitudes greater in importance than everything that has been achieved to date in electrical and electronic science. In summary, the dark light effect. The dark light effect is that light which consists of etheric, magnetic, and electric energies travels through free space in an etherically cloaked state until it encounters a reflective barrier or becomes diverted by physical particles or a magnetic field, at which point it becomes separated from its etheric component, becoming uncloaked and physically visible. Postscript: Flying blind. So, how did Neil Armstrong's Apollo 11 flight make its navigational adjustments on the way to the moon? While his eyes failed to see the stars, the navigational computer was still functional because it contained a reflector mirror. When the device was pointed to where the stars should have been, and the light of the relevant star entered the device, it physically bounced off the internal mirror, and the device functioned as planned. SourceArrayOfflight.com. The other videos are in the English video playlist. Help me spread the light. Click like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.